Alright, everybody, welcome to the United States and Latin America. For the most part, we're talking about Teddy Roosevelt, why he's awesome, and then the Panama Canal. And we start to see a real extension of imperial power here in the United States. This is where we really get to see the Roosevelt corollary into effect, where America becomes the police of the world. America. Yeah. We should have talked about the Four-Acre Act, the Platt Amendment, Big Stick Diplomacy, Panama Canal, Roosevelt Corollary, Dollar Diplomacy. We're going to see all those in action. The Platt Amendment, I know we've talked about when we talked about Cuba. Really, really, really important. Not just because I'm Cuban, but because it's going to change the way that we interact with that country. And then when we get to the Cuban Missile Crisis in the third quarter, you're going to see that the Platt Amendment plays a huge, huge role. So, what's so important about America and Latin America? A lot. We're just skip over the Cuban part of it because we've talked about it. We get Theodore Roosevelt coming up with this idea of big stick diplomacy, and that comes from an African term. It came from an old African saying, "Speak softly and carry a big stick, and you will go far." It's not about always swinging at first. It's about being the quiet person that no one ever expects. And should you need to go to war, should you need to get into a fight, make sure you have the weaponry to do so. And that's what America does. Roosevelt has 16 ships created. He sails them around the world. And then he comes up with this other idea. It's the Roosevelt corollary, so it correlates to the Monroe Doctrine. And the Monroe Doctrine, from way back when, stated that Europe should stay out of the affairs of the Americas. But here the Roosevelt's going to say, not only should they stay out of the affairs, but we start to act as international policemen in the Western Hemisphere. We are going to make sure that Europe cannot intervene here in our hemisphere. He stated, and I have to quote this because it's kind of very interesting, if we intend to say hands off to the powers of Europe, then sooner or later we must keep order ourselves. So the Monroe Doctrine said that Europe should stay out of the affairs, but we didn't have the power to do anything. We were actually a very weak nation when we stated that, and it was kind of an idle threat. It's kind of like a Chihuahua barking out a German Shepherd. We were the Chihuahua, and as much as we might want to bark, we're going to lose that fight. But now we're very quickly becoming the Bull Mastiff, and those are like miniature ponies. So next place for us to flex our muscle is in the Panama region. Colombia wanted us to pay a lot more money than America was willing to pay for the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal zone area was being built on by the French, and they were failing epically, and were wanting to get out of the deal because they were hemorrhaging money. But Colombia wanted to extort money from the United States. So the United States decided that they're going to recognize the Panamanian government. There were rebels in the area, and send U.S. warships to blockade ports. I mean, we never fired a shot. We didn't really have to do much, but we did blockade their ports. And eventually Panama gets their freedom, and we get their canal. People pay us an annual rent to be able to cut 8,000 nautical miles off the strip. And it's a series of locks that get you from one side to the other. In 1909, Howard Taft becomes president, the same Taft we've talked about before. And in addition to needing a larger bathtub in the White House, he replaces big stick diplomacy with dollar diplomacy. And dollar diplomacy is really important. It's not crazy important for this era, but dollar diplomacy is going to make a comeback when communism starts to arise. He sees the idea that instead of military force, we should just throw money at it. We will make people like us and make things better if we throw money at investments. And so he increases American investments in plantations, mines, railroads, third world goods, raw materials coming to us. He does also send troops. I mean, he makes it seem like, oh, that's a bad idea, Roosevelt. But he sent troops, most notably to Nicaragua. And here, if nothing else, you should check out this map of America over the course of about 35 years. all the things that we intervene in, from Nicaragua to Panama, Haiti and Dominican Republic, Cuba, Mexico, Honduras, um, Guam, Philippines, Hawaii. It was just go American imperialism. And last but not least of the American presidents to change our diplomacy, it is Woodrow Wilson. And Woodrow Wilson's going to say that the United States needs to support human rights and national integrity more than anything else. He was an idealist, president of Harvard, very, very intelligent man, and saw the world as it could be, not as it is. And finally, the last thing we talked about was Pancho Villa, who was he was kind of an outlaw in Mexico. Takes a group of his people, they start running up on Texas towns. So we send 10,000 troops into Mexico to catch Villa. We fail. Like I've told my classes, guys, it was kind of like the Mexican Osama bin Laden. But Mexico kind of gets the picture. We are willing to send 10,000 troops after one man. And that's going to be really important come World War I. And that's it for this, guys. I hope you've taken notes. I hope you enjoy your life. I hope you're having a great day. And I'll talk to you guys later.